Let's set sail now as the federal government has inaugurated a supervisory board of the Debt Management Office as part of efforts to strengthen fiscal and monetary policy coordination and ensure long-term debt sustainability in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Singular honor and privilege to inaugurate the supervisory board of the Debt Management Office.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who doubles as the chairman of the board, charged the members to come up with a more strategic approach to public debt management. He noted that Nigeria must continue to use public debt as a vehicle for the development of critical infrastructure and tool for economic growth and poverty reduction, explaining that this approach aligns with the renewed hope agenda, prioritizes fiscal discipline, economic stability, and sustainable development.
I have no doubt that with a strong commitment to adopt modern liability management strategies, both from the fiscal and monetary policy sides, we will collectively address our public debt challenges in the very near future. I want to commend the dedication of our leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, in his dogged efforts towards reforming our economy, and the DMO management for their untiring efforts in the day-to-day management of our sovereign debt portfolio. I also use this opportunity to congratulate them and other members of the Nigerian delegation for a successful outing in the recent USD 2.2 billion double tranche Eurobond issuance.
The Vice President also noted Nigeria's recent success in the global financial market on the issuance of a $2.2 billion double tranche Eurobond, which he described as boosting investor confidence in the country. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Things are looking up for Nigeria financially as there is a proposal to increase the 2025 budget size from 49.7 trillion to 54.2 trillion naira. This was communicated by President Tinubu to the National Assembly, seeking increase to the budget currently under consideration. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has all the details.
The addition of 4.5 trillion naira to the earlier proposed 49.7 trillion naira 2025 budget is from expected revenue inflow from government-owned enterprises, which include the Nigeria Customs Service and the Federal Inland Revenue Service. The letter from President Tinubu also highlighted areas of priority to channel the additional funds.
Strengthening national security, investing in agriculture, solid minerals, and manufacturing, reducing over-reliance on oil revenues.
The National Assembly is working to pass the 2025 budget proposal before the end of February. Senate has approved 3 appointees of the President as members of the Code of Conduct Bureau. The lawmakers also invoked the provisions of Section 157 of the Constitution to remove 3 suspended resident electoral commissioners of INEC.
The aforementioned resident electoral commissioners were early suspended in 2022 and 2023, bordering on allegations of infractions of Electoral Act, compromise of elections and abandonment of duty without cogent reasons.
Senate supported by 2/3 majority for them to be removed from office.
These officers who appear to have compromised themselves will serve as a very veritable deterrence to other officers in the public service.
Meanwhile, Senator representing Delta North, Senator Ned Nwoko, has notified the Senate through a letter of his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Senate paid tribute to and adopted a resolution to name Kado Estate Abuja after the late Lieutenant General Jeremiah Hussaini, who was a member of the 8th Senate, following a motion from Senator Simon Lalong.
Hussaini, Jeremiah Hussaini, MNI, Sardana Plateau and Nasara State, was an elder statesman whose philanthropy and contributions to peace and national development will undoubtedly be greatly missed by Nigeria by the Nigerian state.
May his gentle soul also rest in perfect peace.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And for some explanation on the amendment of the 2025 appropriation bill, let's now join State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab. Musbao.
On the changes to the 2025 appropriation bill before the National Assembly, increasing from 49 trillion naira to 54 trillion naira. We have the Minister of Budgets and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, to tell us about this development. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, what explanation do we have to this increment?
Well, you recall, Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted a 49.7 trillion naira budget to the combined National Assembly, and legislative work commenced. The legislative work continued with interactions between the executive and the National Assembly, and the National Assembly and the economic management team continue to interface and interrogate all figures. And in that process, both the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senate Committee on National Planning, Senate Committee on Finance established that we can generate more revenue by tasking all the institutions to do more. And the Federal Inland Revenue Service confirmed their ability to do more than what was submitted. Equally, the government-owned enterprises were, it was established that they can contribute more revenue, as well as the custom service. So revenue, additional revenue amounting to over 4.5 trillion was established, and this was taken to His Excellency Mr. President, because the beauty of the National Assembly Executive Corporation is that it's a harmonious relationship. So Mr. President was briefed on this additional revenue, and he consulted and he guided that this additional revenue should be used to further strengthen the Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, support the diversification by putting more money in the solid mineral sector, as well as projects under the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund.
All right, with these changes now, are there going to be any adjustment of the MTEF already in place?
Oh yes, the part of the submission and the National Assembly is always welcome, because we have earlier recall that even when the budget was submitted, the MTEF was amended, because the MTEF that was approved was for a lower lower budget of less than 49 trillion. So it goes together, and the National Assembly has always, particularly this additional revenue was established with participation with the National Assembly. So the consequential amendment to the MTEP will certainly follow.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister.
Thank you.
All right, Honorable Minister of Budgets and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, explaining the changes to the 2025 appropriation bill before the National Assembly. Is back to you.
Many thanks, Ms. Bao, for that. Also in the Green Chamber, President Bola Tinubu's request for an increase in the 2025 budget estimates to 54.2 trillion naira was read on the floor. The House, in a resolution, referred the request to its Appropriation Committee for necessary consideration. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikme reports on this and other resolutions at Wednesday's plenary.
The President's request for an addition of 4.5 trillion naira to the 2025 budget estimates was welcomed by lawmakers for consideration by the Appropriation Committee, irrespective of observations by the House Minority Leader.
If we are at 2025, we project that we are going to get additional revenue. It is for us to look at the budget, apply it properly, and send back to the executive. Thank you. Correction is a letter, not a budget speech. It's a letter from Mr. President. Those in support that this be referred to the House Committee on Appropriations, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes, as you can see visibly, has it.
The House, however, frowned at indiscriminate linking of national identification numbers of some citizens with strange telephone numbers. Lawmakers say this is a privacy and data breach by telecom service providers, which should be investigated.
Consequences of this unauthorized data linking includes identity theft, financial fraud, and other forms of cybercrime that have become rife in Nigeria lately. This House resolves to urge the Nigerian Communications Commission to investigate these reports and take immediate actions against any telecom service provider found to be culpable in this practice.
The House also sought protection of some oil-producing communities in Ondo State from ravaging sea incursions.
We need to declare the sea-ravaged and submerged oil-bearing communities of Ayeto, Rawoye, Mulitayi, Abereke, and others in the largest of the federal constituency of Ondo State as disaster zones and national emergency, with hundreds of homes and properties destroyed, resulting in the displacement of indigenous of the communities in their thousands.
Meanwhile, a House Committee on Southeast Development Commission has been formally inaugurated to drive development in the region.
This committee has been constituted to address regional disparities and lay the groundwork for sustainable national development.
It's not just about policy monitoring. It is also about improving the lives of millions of people.
Members of the House Committee were enjoined to ensure that the Southeast becomes a model for regional development in the country. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly now, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, says it recovered more than 20 billion naira in the year 2024 from ghost workers and pension-related matters. The chairman of the commission, Musa Adamu Aliyu, disclosed this at a strategic meeting with members of the Nigerian Guild of Editors from the North in Abuja. The meeting is expected to come up with strategies that would help tackle corrupt practices across all sectors, utilizing citizens' participation. This, according to the chairman, can only be realized with the help of media practitioners, sensitizing the public on the negative effects of corrupt practices.
I was able to tell them what we are doing, our policy, trust, our strategic action plan, and also our engagement at even international sphere. And also I call on them how they can help us in ensuring that we fight corruption and we project the image of this country in a positive way.
It's journalists and editors. If they understand you, they understand the enormity of the problem, then now they are in a better position as well to enlighten Nigerians.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Immigration Service is set to launch the contactless passport application solution in Europe, with UK serving as the coordinating center. The Comptroller General, Mrs. Kemi Nana Nandap, announced this while visiting the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. Deborah Bala Wobo reports.
Initiative set for launch on 7th of February 2025 will enable Nigerians in the diaspora to apply for their passports online from the comfort of their homes, but is applicable only to those renewing their passports and not for fresh applicants or minors. The passport renewal process can start a year to expiration date. As such, passport front offices will soon be open in other parts of United States of America and other countries as well.
And to make this new system we're going to launch on the 7th, to make it as successful as possible, because this administration, like I keep saying, I reiterate that this administration is all about adding value to the services we render, to make sure that Nigerians get the best in terms of whatever services we're rendering to them. And that is what this contactless solution is going to do.
Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, described the initiative as laudable, aligning with the Commission's mandate to support and facilitate diaspora engagement.
As you begin in Europe, as you launch, as you introduce it from the 7th, we'll also continue to monitor and ask Nigerians for their feedback. And I'm sure, just like Canada, it will go very, very well. So we are there to ensure that we listen to Nigerians and whatever it is they have to say. And I know for sure that there's been an unmistakable improvement.
She commended the Interior Minister Olubumi Tunji Ojo and the Comptroller General for the innovations introduced, noting that the contactless application has since taken off in Canada, with commendations from Nigerians living there. In Abuja, Deborah Balagobo, NTA News.
In other news, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu departs Abuja this Wednesday for Paris, France, on a private visit en route to Addis Ababa, the Ethiopian capital. In Addis Ababa, President Tinubu will join African leaders at the 46th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council and the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the AU Heads of State, scheduled from February 12th to 16th, 2025. Special Advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, in a statement, the President will arrive in Addis Ababa early next week for the African Union Summit and will meet with his French counterpart, President Emmanuel Macron.
Become a commissioner in the Peace and Security Committee through consensus, and that is very critical for us. The AU Peace and Security Commission is critical, and having a Nigerian be a commissioner on that body is critical. It's also part of the gains of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's foreign initiatives and policies. Beyond that, we know that the position of the AFDB president is up. We have several countries that are lobbying. A Nigerian is there now. As he runs up, another person will have to go there. And we know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be one of the key presidents that will be sought out to determine who gets that position.
All right, let's see other news now. One of the key priority areas of the Renewed Hope infrastructure is motorable roads for Nigerians. And the federal government is committed to building the most enduring roads in Nigeria's history. The Minister of State for Works, Mohammed Bello Goronyo, gave the assurance while on a familiarization tour of the proposed permanent corporate headquarters office complex of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. Usman Zubairu has more.
The Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, has been in existence for over 22 years. And for over the years, the capacity of staff and office accommodation are challenges the agency has been faced with.
And over the years, the staff numbers have grown. So we're having capacity issues in our present location.
This proposed site for development of a new corporate headquarters for the agency. The project is still under procurement process before it will be forwarded to the Executive Council for consideration.
Place, the location, you can see that is acquired. Only what we need is approval of it.
While at the agency's head office, the Minister of State for Works had interaction with staff and management on the need to redouble efforts in delivering the mandate of President Tinubu's renewed hope road infrastructure for Nigeria.
FEMA is one critical agency that is doing a lot of, work to ensure that it delivers on this mandate.
It is expected that this visit by the Minister of State for Works will inject additional vigor and commitment in delivering accessible road networks for Nigerians. In Abuja, Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
This is News Extra. More news after the break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu has directed the armed forces, security and intelligence agencies to harmonize their operations and adopt a holistic approach in combating the nation's emerging security challenges. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the president's message was delivered by the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, at the ongoing Joint Task Force Commanders Conference in Abuja.
Serving and former service chiefs, heads of security and intelligence agencies, retired military commanders at the 2025 Joint Task Force Commanders Conference organized by the Defense Headquarters in Abuja. The gathering is a periodic avenue to review ongoing operations in different theaters and develop enhanced strategic guidelines to improve combat capabilities in addressing evolving security threats.
This forum is expedient and timely, especially at this time where the security landscape is dynamic and constantly evolving. Such a landscape undoubtedly requires us to harmonize our efforts and evolve proactive and innovative measures that can decisively address the security threats we are facing today.
As it is, no one organization,
to the Chief of Defense Staff, the nation's emerging security challenges are indigenous and stress the need for homegrown solutions.
Evolving threats such as the employment of armed drones, transnational crimes, and the proliferation of improvised explosive devices demand innovative and adaptive responses. This conference is therefore an opportunity to critically examine these challenges and develop actionable strategies to address them. We must leverage technology, enhance intelligence sharing, and strengthen interagency cooperation to stay ahead of these threats.
The guest lecturer, the 14th Chief of Defense Staff, harps on the whole society approach in countering terrorism.
It is already well established that countering insurgency and its associated acts of terror hardly succeeds using force alone.
I'll commend Mr. President for increasing the resources for 2025 budget year for the armed forces and other security agencies.
Funding for structure, situation in the Sahel region, and logistics are among issues raised at the event. The conference, third in the series, is focusing on enhancing jointness among security and intelligence agencies. From the Defense Headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And away from security matters, weather forecasting is crucial for agriculture, transportation and daily life across the nation. Recognizing their significance, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, diligently compiles and shares annual forecasts to keep the public informed about what the year's weather holds. In 2025, NIMET anticipates an early onset of rainy season for the southern states, while northern region may experience a delayed arrival of rains. Let's get more insights from Musa Baba Aliyu.
This year's NIMET forecast actively highlights the intricacies of rain patterns, temperature variation, and essential guidance for marine and aviation operators. Consequently, the rainy season is projected to sweep across the nation, lasting an impressive 110 to 290 days.
The onset of rain is predicted to be delayed over the northern and central states of Plateau, as well as parts of Kaduna, Niger, Benue, Nasarawa, Taraba, Adamawa, and Kwara. While early onset is expected over the southern states of Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Anambra, and sections of Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, Lagos, Edo, Enugu, Imo, and Ebonyi.
12 states are predicted to experience a severe dry spell that will last for 21 days without rainfall during the season.
Those engaged in rain-fed agriculture and other rainfall-dependent activities in Nigeria are therefore advised to refer to the predicted onset dates in this publication or consult NIMET for proper guidance.
Working with NIMET on this front is critical, and it enables us to guide our farmers as we plan.
NEMO will convene a meeting of experts
from all relevant partners to analyze the disaster risk implication of the 2025 SCP and develop necessary advisories for downscaling to state and local government authorities to support subnational level disaster preparedness, response, mitigation, and recovery planning.
And the daytime temperature in 2025 is projected to range between 28.8 degrees Celsius and 35 degrees Celsius. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Many thanks, Musa. And still talking about the weather forecast, we have with us now the General Manager, Agrometeorology and Technical Assistant to the DG NIMET, Haruna Zakari. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, Nigeria.
All right. Now, early rain in the south and late onset in the north. What exactly is the prediction referring to?
Yeah, thank you once again. Leading from the ministerial keynote address on this, I think you've just made some little brief about that. Looking at what we've seen in 2024, 2024 was a little bit late in the southern part of the country because the onset was about 3rd of March 2024. Looking at what we have in 2025, the forecast is showing us that the onset is going to be about 28th of February. So that's why the comment of early onset in the southern part of the country, majority of the southern part of the country, having the early onset. Coming back to the northern part of the country, a greater part of the northern of Nigeria, from the south, northwest part of the country, the northeastern part of the country, down to some part of the north central, are predicted to have late onset for the season. So by implication, we all know in different sectors, especially the agricultural sector, once we have late onset, we may have to go with a lot of advisories so that we can plan effectively for our season. And I'm not stopping there. We also have to look at also the cessation. That is when the rains are going to stop. Looking at the forecast or the prediction, you find that amazingly, most of those areas of the north where you have late onset, majority of those parts, especially from the northern eastern part of the northeast part of the country, you find that is going to be early cessation. So there are implications. So this document, as part of our mandate, is for us to give out this information early enough so that we can enhance planning by policymakers so that we can get implements and especially the crops types that are going to be...
All right. Mr. Zakar, of course, we'll get to the farmers. But, looking at the prediction document, there's also a prediction that there's a possible dry spell, a period where there will be no rain. How long would that last?
The dry spell, looking at the dry spell, we have two regimes of dry spell. The first regime of the dry spell, we have dry spell projected between April and June. And we have three categories of that. That can last between 1 day to about 21 days. That is between April and June. And we have a second regime of the dry spell, which is expected to come within July and August. The same thing, we have three regimes which can be from 1 to about 21 days. So these are implications that are critically being envisaged, and we have to look at them. But good enough, while this document is being put together, we had what we call the stakeholders forum. This stakeholders forum is where we display this document, that is the forecast, where all stakeholders were brought together so that we can discuss the economic implications across all the sectors of the economy, the major sectors of the economy. And this document I'm having with me here, which is the seasonal climate prediction for 2025, as unveiled by our Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo, contains a lot. And I think we should speak to the document rather than...
Mr. Zakari, because of time, we need to round up this conversation. Of course, that document is important, and all stakeholders need to get it and understand the content. Yes. But, earlier you were talking about crops, planning, and all of that. Yes, the weather is critical, to farmers. How will this information get to the farmers?
Traditionally, we have ways of getting across to the farmers because we work with a lot of partners. We work with partners within Nigeria, we work with partners, international partners, that is development organizations. We work with them to get across to the farmers. And we also, like the unveiling of the document that was done yesterday, all state governors were invited, commissioners of agri, commissioners of environment were invited. This is purposely done so that states can key into this document.
And of course, pass the information to people
yes,
in the
to pass
states.
this information. And further enough, we also wanted to do what we call the downscaling, because this document is a general document for Nigeria. We have what we call the downscaling for each and every state. We can do the downscaling, which is going to give us a finer forecast for states to have within the geographical locations of their state, local government by local government, with all implications.
All right, fantastic, Mr. Zachary. We need to let you go, but we also noticed that the seasonal prediction captures possible cases of malaria and meningitis, talking about health now. Could you share some details on this?
Yes, looking at the public health challenges, especially looking at malaria and meningitis, these are prevalent diseases that have been, putting so much challenge onto the public health sector. So looking at that, we look at what factors, weather factors, that are bringing about maybe the prevalence or occurrence of this. So looking at rainfall, which is a very critical component that brings about malaria parasite infestation, we bring about and we work what we call the vigilance, malaria and meningitis vigilance. Meningitis has to do with relative humidity, dust accumulation, and so on and so forth. So looking at that from our database, we look at a process that we have to give a prediction as an outlook for the public health sector to have a kind of planning before the occurrence of this kind of process.
All right, I think that's a fine place to leave the conversation. Many thanks, Mr. Haruna Zachary, General Manager, Agro-Meteorology and Technical Assistant to the DG of NIMET. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now let's see other trending stories. Nigeria's mangrove forest, regarded as a new frontier of nature-based solutions to the climate change crisis we see all around us, is perhaps the largest reserve of water-friendly trees in Africa. But over the years, it has lost about 97.8 hectares, representing 59.5 megaton of carbon dioxide equivalent. Now, what is the problem? Why are they gradually disappearing? And what are the emerging opportunities for Nigeria in mangrove forest? Charles Alpha reports from the creeks of Warri, Delta State, where mangroves are predominantly part of the people's lives.
For more than an hour, we rode on speedboats on the Chekiri River in Warri, Delta State, where the mangrove forest spans several kilometers with branches spreading into the waters and going back up to the surface. Flanked on both sides of the Chekiri River, this, as far as the eyes could see, presents an adorable woven sight of nature. Mangroves are known to be potential nature-based solution to climate change because of their abilities to reduce carbon, firm up coastal lines, prevent erosion and flooding, as well as general preservation of the ecosystem where they are found. Here, these mangroves for decades have served as a means of livelihoods for Rebecca Macaulay, whose major occupation is fishing. But today, she caught just a handful of crayfish.
Crayfish day, now crayfish now go catch so. If in a net, you dey catch fish. I not set net today.
Nigeria report says has the largest mangrove in Africa and ranks third in the whole of the world, spanning 36 square kilometers. And Warri alone has between 18 to 23% of this forest cover. But again, what has been a problem? Two things. Climate change and unwholesome human activities are affecting the survival of this mangrove. They are gradually being suffocated by oil spills and depleted because of logging.
We have a law
in Delta State. Once you speak, we'll give you 48 hours to reach out to us. But once you don't do that, after 48 hours, there is fine.
The identified inherent solutions to the Nigeria's climate change crisis, the emerging opportunities and the need to restore and conserve these mangroves through awareness and community engagement are why the National Council on Climate Change Secretariat, led by the Presidential Envoy on Climate Change and the Director General, National Council on Climate Change, Nkiru Kamadwekwe, is in the creeks of Delta State and the Niger Delta regions endowed with mangroves.
So we're showcasing, we're going to see these things ourselves to see firsthand and to also listen to the people, converse with the people and know where would they come in, where can they come in, what can we do differently, what sort of doing like a needs assessment.
Like the oil, these mangrove forests are again attracting countries around the world to Nigeria. But for the governor of Delta State, who was represented by his deputy, Sir Monday Onyeme, at a courtesy visit on him and His Royal Majesty Asaba, Professor Epiphany Chigbogu Azinge, the National Council on Climate Change and the federal government will do well to explore the mangroves in such a way that it benefits the people. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Very educative report there, and still on issues of the environment, researchers have proven that wetlands are vital for humans, for the ecosystems and for the climate, providing essential ecosystem services such as water regulation, including flood control and water purification, considering its indelible support to life and livelihoods. Experts regret that wetlands are among the ecosystems with the highest rates of decline, loss and degradation. Hence, the global community has continued to speak on the imperatives of preserving wetlands for the future. Ifoma Aikoje has this.
Wetlands are part of the ecosystems wherein water is the primary factor controlling the environment and the associated plant and animal life. These lands are known to be critical to people and nature given their intrinsic values, benefits and services, including their environmental, ecological, economic, climatic, recreational and even aesthetic contributions to sustainable development and human well-being.
The marine sector holds the key to the development of the Niger Delta region.
Realizing their priceless values, the international community has continued to have awareness on the imperative of protecting wetlands for the future.
Just imagine what will happen if all our wetlands are reclaimed, as many do. We call it sea land reclamation from the sea, but wetlands are absolutely essential for draining our environment.
We are suffering because the wetland has been tampered. Some part of the wetland now in some communities that are at the bank of the Atlantic Ocean are now washing away.
Investigation reveals that wetlands are disappearing 3 times faster than forests and are Earth's most threatened ecosystem.
Policymakers and governments and the world should now focus on the wetland to see that the wetland is taken care of. Especially the multi-oil company must look for a global accepted standard to maintain their finding and exploitation of oil activities.
When we talk of the blue economy, for instance, it should be in a way of boosting community ownership, community defense of wetlands.
The vicious cycle of wetland loss and threatened livelihoods, according to experts, is as a result of mistakenly seeing wetlands as wastelands rather than life-giving sources of incomes, jobs, and essential ecosystem services. So a key challenge is to change mindsets and encourage governments and communities to value and prioritize wetlands. In Yanagua, Ifoma Aihoji, NTA News.
And away from the environment now, let's talk health as the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the extension of service for clinically skilled health professionals in the country, raising the retirement age from 60 to 65 years. The Coordinating Minister said the President's prioritization of enhanced benefits and support for healthcare professionals in Nigeria comes at a time when 60,000 health workers are being retrained in 2025, following the retraining of over 53,000 Nigerian health workers in 2024. Addressing leaders of health sector unions in Abuja, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate commended the dedication of health workers across the country and emphasized government's efforts in fostering a constructive relationship with unions, while informing the gathering that President Bola Tinubu has additionally approved the disbursement of 7 months outstanding COVID-19 hazard allowances. The critical meeting, attended by key unions such as the Nigerian Medical Association, the Joint Health Sector Union, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, and the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, focused on sustaining improvements in the welfare of healthcare workers.
Arrears. The other one is the issue of the extension of the retirement age. You know the challenge of human resource shortage in Nigeria. Every day our hospitals suffer from folks japping, and the workload on nurses, pharmacists, lab scientists, medical doctors increasing. But we're seeing that trend plateauing.
All leadership within the unions in the health sector have come together to unanimously agree that a minister of health is doing what they believe is in the right direction to deliver quality healthcare for Nigerians.
All right, in other news, an Ikeja Special Offences Court has discharged and acquitted former Minister of Aviation Femi Fani-Kayode of alleged medical forgery counts brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Delivering the ruling on the no-case submission filed by Fani-Kayode, who was the defendant in the matter, the presiding judge, Justice Olubunmi Abike Fadigbe, stated that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against the defendant. Justice Abike Fadigbe explained that the prosecution did not establish any connection between Fani-Kayode and the alleged offences, failing to present key evidence such as testimonies from the defendant's associates or the lawyer who allegedly handled medical reports for the Federal High Court. She noted that extrajudicial statements which were presented as evidence could only serve to contradict their markers when they testified in court. Fani-Kayode was charged by the EFCC in November 2021 with a 12-count indictment, including counts of procuring false documents, use of forged documents, and fabricating evidence. The verdict of the court has ended the defendant's 18 years of legal battles at various courts after a Federal High Court had earlier dismissed forgery counts for lack of evidence. Now time for another break. Please remain tuned.
Ritual starts here, surrounded by life-made furniture. From my wardrobe to my bed, life-made furniture's whole house customization designs every piece to perfection.
Stay confident and stay focused. Breathe for it with TomTom.
Nigeria is perched on the treasure trove of solid minerals. Gold, coal, tantalum, tin. But none is more critical to our future, or the world's future, like lithium.
Let's talk about illegal mining operations. What is our strategy?
Remaining tuned. The World Bank's support for Nigeria's development agenda has reached Dukwa community in Gwagwalada Area Council of the FCT, where funded projects are transforming the lives of residents. Nika Oko reports that the World Bank alternate executive director for Nigeria, Angola and South Africa, Ms. Zainab Ahmed, led an inspection tour of the projects implemented under the Nigeria Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus, NG Cares program. The report.
For Rahina Suleiman, a mother of 5 living in Dukwa community, Gwagwalada, life was a constant struggle. Each time one of her children fell ill, she had to travel miles to the nearest health center, often at great expense. But all that changed when the health care center in the community was expanded, courtesy of the NGKs.
But now everything they easy. You know, if I will not pay transport, we can use our leg come.
Mrs. Suleiman's story is just one of many in the community where the World Bank's support has brought new hope and improved healthcare outcomes. The community's solar-powered borehole, also funded by the World Bank, has provided clean water to residents.
Before they go river, the fish water.
As the World Bank alternate executive director for Nigeria, Angola and South Africa, Zainab Ahmed noted during her inspection of the center, access to quality healthcare and clean water is essential for promoting economic development.
The projects that we see in the World Bank and reports is actually impacting on the lives of people.
Everything that you require for a primary emergency has already been made available.
The inspection tour provided an opportunity for the bank to assess the progress of the projects and engage with community members and local stakeholders. From Dupa community in Gwagwalada Area Council, Neka Oko, NTA News.
Let's now talk business. The businessman is here. Benny, feed us.
Thank you, Yere. Talking business now on the sidelines of the ongoing annual mining in Daba, holding in Cape Town, South Africa. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has secured a study facility to develop a roadmap on Nigeria's critical value chain from extraction to beneficiation to be funded by the Global Council for Critical Minerals. The Global Council for Critical Minerals is a specialized organ of the Sustainable Energy for All, a United Nations agency set up to implement the agenda for sustainable development. The study, to be carried out by UC Davis and supported by Core International, will examine the country's critical minerals, resource and reserve and set international best practices for the value development to ensure that it contributes to value addition to grow the economy. One of the expected benefits is the development of an industrial sector for the local production of solar power and foreign exchange savings from the reduction of imports of solar power products. Now a look at Nigeria's capital market as well as other markets in Africa. The Nigerian equities market actually sustained its bullish trend, extending the gains recorded in the previous two sessions as investors gained 332.25 billion naira, just as South Africa Top 40 and Tunisia Tune Index recorded positive gains. Looking at the numbers for Nigeria, it is a 0.51% appreciation, and in South Africa is 0.28 appreciation, while the Tunisia Tune Index is 0.35%. Well, this is it and business. Inyere, you can take it from here.
Many thanks for these numbers, Benny. Let me also let you know that Nigeria's collaboration with global giants in the livestock sector has continued to yield desired results with efforts to modernize the sector for enhanced productivity and sufficiency in top gear. This was the focus during an engagement with the Minister of Livestock Development and the ambassadors of Mexico and Denmark to Nigeria. Yusuf Jika reports.
This handshake goes beyond pleasantries. It's a symbolic seal of deal between Nigeria, Mexico and Denmark for the transformation of the livestock sector. Now, this partnership is a new vista to enhance collaborative efforts towards improving the many decades of trade relations in the industry with dairy products and other livestock commodities top on the agenda.
How to increase the fattening of our animals, how to preserve their health security, how to interact in the trade, how to do more strained sectors, basically.
Working on feed and fodder management, and we are working on animal registration and identification and traceability. And then we are also working on the use of veterinary medicine and disease control.
Then we have agreed also to exchange a lot of information between our countries that is with regard to livestock sector, and from there we will take it up to ensure that enabling environment is created for investors to come and invest in the Nigerian brownfield livestock sector.
With the renewed hope commitment to the livestock industry, Nigeria's future looks brighter for producers, processors, and other stakeholders in the livestock value chain. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
In other news, we focus on ICT. Nigeria's digital economy drive is gaining more mileage with an initiative for Nigeria to accelerate broadband penetration by 70% before the end of the year 2025 by the National Broadband Alliance. Now, Joel Kukola reports that the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy says the initiative will guarantee high-speed internet access and boost foreign direct investment into the country.
High-speed internet access is a major enabler of digital economy and part of the gains of the launch of the National Broadband Alliance for Nigeria, which is a multi-stakeholder platform that ensures government, businesses and key partners are on the same page, is redoubling the digital inclusion drive. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, represented by Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Aminu Meida, says the collective goals of the initiative is to increase investment in broadband to 300 to 500% and achieve 80% coverage by 2027.
Special purpose vehicle approved by the Federal Executive Council. We are leveraging grants and investments to deploy 90,000 kilometers of backbone fiber across Nigeria. This effort aims to connect even the most underserved communities.
The NCC is working to address all encumbrances such as lack of awareness, power supply, and underutilization of broadband.
We will create an economically viable model for broadband adoption. This aggregation of demand will unlock untapped capacity and also drive down costs, enhance affordability, and stimulate widespread adoption.
NIGCOMSAT, Nigeria Data Protection Commission, and other critical partners have all perfected strategies to ensure success of the initiative.
What we want is an inclusive digital economy. That these things just don't happen in Lagos and Calabar. They happen in Zamfara, in Sokoto. Wherever the tourist or the economy want to be enabled should happen.
Edo, Ogun, Kwara, Katsina, Imo, Abia, Borno, and Nasarawa states have been selected for the pilot phase, having addressed right-of-way issues. This landmark feat is expected to promote digital literacy and accelerate Nigeria's economic development, especially the goal of reaching the $1 trillion economy. In Lagos, Joel Mukbola, NTA News.
In other news, the Chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, says the agency will intensify and sustain the fight against drug abuse while exploring effective synergy with foreign and local partners. The NDLEA boss stated this while interacting with men and officers of the Kaduna State Command. Achari Maxwell reports that among issues discussed are welfare and how to ensure seamless operations.
Kaduna State Command of the NDLEA played host to an August visitor, the #1 man in the fight against drug abuse, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, the NDLEA boss. The fight against drug abuse is a Herculean task which requires strategies and encouragement, thus reasons for these engagements to boost the morale of the personnel for effective operations while discharging their lawful duties. Brigadier General Buba Marwa expressed delight with the activities of the Kaduna Command, seizures and prosecutions, calling on them to sustain advocacy on the dangers of drugs and substance abuse.
Parents, families, traditional institutions, school systems, clergy, road transport workers, the entire society has to be upstanding to join us in the war against drug abuse.
He advised the personnel to maintain high sense of discipline and assured them of federal government's commitment to provide the needed logistics as well as improve staff welfare. The NDLEA boss also visited the zonal command where he encouraged them to sustain the war against drug abuse for a drug-free society. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
Away from drug abuse, let's talk about road use. Now, the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, recovered 73 stolen vehicles across the country in the year 2024 through the instrumentality of the National Vehicle Identification Scheme portal. FRSC Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed says this was achieved through the Corps' relentless commitment to enhancing national security, strengthening intelligence gathering and sharing, as well as enhancing the safety of lives and property of road users. He said the vehicles were recovered during coordinated intelligence-driven operations conducted by the FRSC in collaboration with other security agencies at the point of registration of the suspected vehicles. Vehicle owners were, however, admonished to always ensure that they provide all necessary information required of them at the point of registration of their vehicles, while emphasizing that adequate information helps in intelligence gathering, which in turn makes timely recovery of vehicles possible. In other news, President Bola Tinubu is celebrating a lifetime of service, dedication to just causes and visionary leadership of Kwara State Governor and Chairman Nigeria Governors Forum, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, as he clocks 65 years. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the President acknowledges Governor Abdulrazak's invaluable contributions in mobilizing governors to work with the federal government to address national challenges and implement policies that promote good governance and progress for all Nigerians. The President believes that the people of Kwara State are blessed to have a leader who is committed to improving the quality of life for citizens through investments in economic and human capital development, prioritizing education, healthcare, agriculture, and social welfare initiatives. He wishes Governor Abdulrazak good health and strength to continue fulfilling his obligations to his people and the nation. Another break beckons. Let's talk education now. In a bid to strengthen efforts at giving education and vocation training to all Nigerian women and girls, the Ministry of Education is coming up with another initiative that will target girls in hard-to-reach locations of the country. Now, this is coming from the Minister of Education, Dr. Professor Suwaiba Ahmed, at the relaunch of Phase 2 of the Adolescent and Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile Project Communication Campaign, a crucial step aimed at amplifying awareness, engage communities and drive societal change needed to sustain the shared vision. This will be done by partnering with educators, parents, media and community stakeholders to disseminate information about the essence of the project.
Meaning Miru in Hausa symbolizes reflection and transformation. It reflects the aspiration of millions of girls across Nigeria and challenges us to confront societal norms that hinders their growth.
Over 1 million girls have graduated from the life skills also and digital literacy acquisition training. Schools under Agile intervention has also developed entrepreneurial skills by setting up a skilled business in fish pond, livestock as part of climate change, generating incomes which we saw during our last mission visit to Katsina and Borno State.
Since inception, the Agile project has achieved remarkable milestone, improved infrastructure, provided conditional cash transfer to support families and deliver skills training, empowering young girls and those that have dropped out of schools, which the minister says must be done. We'll talk politics. The Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party has recognized the party's former national youth leader, Sunday Ude Okoye, as the substantive national secretary of the PDP in full obedience to the declaratory judgment of the High Court of Enugu, as also upheld by the Court of Appeal. This was part of a 10-point resolution after the board's emergency meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The Board of Trustees of the PDP, at its last meeting held at the National Secretariat of the party in Abuja, set up a 10-man committee to look into the lingering leadership crisis surrounding the office of the National Secretary, where two persons, Senator Samuel Ayawu and Sunday Ode Okoye, are claimants.
The BOT, by adopting the report, recognizes Honorable Sunday Ode Okoye as the substantive National Secretary of the PDP.
Consequently, the BOT, in exercise of its constitutional powers received, exhaustively considered and thereby adopted the report of its committee led by Kabiru Tanimu Turaki SAN. The BOT therefore charged the National Working Committee of the party to recognize and immediately swear in Sunday Ode Okoye as the National Secretary of the PDP in obedience to the judgment of the Court of Appeal. The Board of Trustees also asserted its position as a prominent organ of the PDP as enshrined under Section 13 of the Constitution of the PDP as amended in 2017.
The PDP expresses satisfaction with the PDP Governors Forum and National Working Committee for their concerted efforts in finally setting Thursday, March 13, 2025 as a date for our much anticipated National Executive Committee meeting.
The BOT urged all members of the party to remain united and continue to work together to strengthen the party. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Former Governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura, commends President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for assenting to the bill for the establishment of the North Central Development Commission. Senator Almakura describes the move by the president as timely and capable of promoting the development drive of the North Central states. He equally congratulates the governors and people of the North Central states and enjoins them to take advantage of the Commission's establishment to develop the region. Let's pause here. We'll be back in a bit.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their socio-economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, one person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, one person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary healthcare center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spread the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
Let's join Badi Adeleye for sports now. Badi.
Many thanks, Nyere. Let's begin with badminton, as Director General, National Sports Commission, Bukola Olokpade, has charged Team Nigeria to the All-Africa Senior Badminton Championship in Cameroon to do the country proud at the championship. Olokpade, who was at the training camp of the athletes Wednesday at the badminton court Mambila Barracks in Abuja, reiterated the commitment of the leadership of the Commission towards ensuring their success in Cameroon. 10 Nigerian athletes, including 5 male and 5 female, will compete in 5 events of men and women singles, men and women's doubles, as well as mixed doubles at the competition, which runs from the 10th to 16th February in Cameroon.
What you need to do ordinarily as a leader who is not playing with them is to give them the encouragement, to rub their ego, to let them know that we have their backs, to let them know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is determined to continue to empower young people and encourage them to excel in their God-given gifts and skills, which is what they know how to do.
I've been here a couple of times. They've been here for a couple of weeks now training, and what I see looks good. I'm confident that they'll be able to go out there to do very well.
It's one of the best camp that I've been in, and it's really conducive for me, and it's something that I appreciate the most, and the team also. And we're actually looking forward to give our best in the coming African Championship.
We're not done with badminton, as Borno youths have found the passion in the game of badminton, thanks to the state governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, who is using the game towards facilitating ongoing recovery process and at the same time promote peace and unity. Abubakar Musa reports that the 4-day open badminton competition tagged 2025 Professor Zulum Peace Badminton Tournament held at Nuga Hall, University of Maiduguri, while the state deputy governor declared the competition open.
Nera, Borno State Deputy Governor Umar Usman.
I want to appreciate my governor for supporting this tournament, because it's going to unite Nigeria, not only in Borno State.
We are letting the world know that anybody that has any business or anything to do in Borno is free to come anytime, because there is peace in Borno.
To football now, there were plenty of excitement and something for fans to cheer as the 24 goals were recorded on match day 4 of the Nigeria Women's Premier Football League on Wednesday. In the Kenya, Remo Stars ladies reigned supreme, with Bolaji Olamide scoring a brace in a 4-1 win over Heartland Queens. In Umuahia, rejuvenated Abia Angels thrashed Confluence Queens 3-0, while Bayelsa Queens flaunted their title credentials with a 3-0 win over Adamawa Queens. Defending champions Edo Queens seemed to be taking their foot off the gas after a 2-0 draw with Dana's ladies away in Lagos. And of course, that's a bit on sports, but let's remind you that the ongoing match between Newcastle United and Arsenal in the second leg of the Carabao Cup in England is now 2-0 in favor of Newcastle, and of course 4-0 on aggregate. It's back to you, Nyere.
Many thanks, Badi, for the updates. Power engineer Daniel Adeleke of Ishaya Oregon compound in Osun State has died at the age of 82. Information obtained from the family indicates that a wake will be held at number 25 Adekunle Street, Ilarogan at 5 p.m. on Thursday, February 6, 2025, while burial service will take place on Friday, 7 February 2025 at St. Michael Anglican Church, Okiede, Ilarogan, Osun State. His remains will be interred immediately after the service. Similarly, Governor Dauda Lawal expresses condolences to the families of the 17 students who lost their lives in the fire tragedy at the Al-Madri School in Kara Namoda, Zamfara. In a statement issued, the governor described the incident as unfortunate. Underlying cause of the fire, he noted, will be examined and measures will be put in place to prevent a reoccurrence. Let's now take a quick peep at the weather outlook for Thursday.
Thank you for joining us. Thursday is expected to start off with moderate dust haze to parts of Borno, Yobe, Jigawa, Kano and Katsina states. Other parts of the north and the north-central, slight dust haze is expected. To the southern region of the country, partly cloudy skies are anticipated. However, later during the day, there are prospects of afternoon and evening thunderstorms to the coastal belt of the country. This includes Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, Lagos, and parts of Ondo states. Maximum temperatures across the country are on the increase as Jalingo records 40 degrees Celsius. So please take necessary precaution. That's our bit from here. I am Theodora Itzum. Join us again.
Well, thanks, Theodora, for the weather outlook. And that's our package on News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. And from the entire production crew, have a good night.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.